Welcome to Infinite Heart Stories, where we explore the hidden barriers of the human mind and the courage to overcome them. Meet Daniel, a 27-year-old man who appears to have everything figured out, surrounded by books and ambitious dreams of success. He spends his days consuming knowledge, building elaborate plans, and telling himself that he is preparing for a glorious future. But beneath this layer of preparation lies a hidden trap. A comfortable prison where planning replaces doing and dreaming replaces living. Days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, yet Daniel remains exactly where he started, paralyzed by the illusion of progress. His favorite mantra is simple yet destructive, a promise he makes every single night before sleep, saying that tomorrow he starts. But when the sun rises, the motivation from the night before vanishes, replaced by the heavy comfort of his warm bed. He walks through the city feeling like a ghost, watching others build their lives while he remains stuck in potential mode. One afternoon, aiming to escape his guilt, he enters a coffee shop and spots a familiar face from his past. It is Alex, an old college friend who was never the smartest in the room but always had a wild energy. Alex begins to share his journey, speaking passionately about a business he launched last year that is now thriving globally. As Alex describes the details, Daniel feels a cold shiver because it is the exact idea he had 3 years ago. He remembers sketching that very plan on his whiteboard, only to erase it because he felt he was not ready yet. Alex laughs, unaware of the pain he is causing, celebrating the execution of a dream that Daniel let die in silence. Walking home, the weight of regret presses down on him, forcing him to confront the lie he has lived for years. He looks in the mirror and admits that he is not just lazy, but he is terrified of his own potential. Desperate for clarity, Daniel decides to disconnect from his routine and drives to a rugged mountain trail at dawn. The physical exertion acts as a distraction, but his mind is still racing with thoughts of failure and wasted time. He pauses to catch his breath, looking out over the vast valley, realizing how insignificant his worries seem here. Suddenly, an older hiker named Robert appears, moving with a steady rhythm that defies his age and weathered appearance. Robert notices Daniel's distress and offers him water, sitting down with a gentle presence that invites open conversation. Daniel finds himself spilling his story, talking about the friend, the lost idea, and the feeling of being permanently stuck. The old man listens quietly, then points to the distant peak, and then down to his own muddy, worn boots. He tells Daniel that the problem is not his ability to climb, but his obsession with how he looks climbing. "You are not lazy, son. You are just scared of looking foolish while you figure out how to run properly." Robert explains that waiting until you feel ready is a trap, because readiness is a feeling that never truly arrives. He introduces the first mile principle, stating that the beginning of any journey is supposed to be messy and imperfect. Every master you admire was once a disaster, stumbling through the dark, making mistakes that taught them how to succeed. He says that fear tries to protect you from pain, but in doing so, it also protects you from growth. The wind howls around them, serving as a reminder that nature does not wait for permission to move and change. Daniel asks how to stop the fear, and Robert laughs, saying you cannot stop it, you must walk with it. Action is the only cure for fear, because it forces your brain to focus on the task, not the outcome. They continue their hike, and with every step, the heavy burden of Daniel's perfectionism begins to lift off his shoulders. Robert points to a small tree growing in rock, proving that conditions do not need to be perfect for growth. He realizes he has been waiting for the perfect weather in his life, while he should have been growing through storms. Reaching the summit, the view is breathtaking, a reward reserved only for those who endured the struggle of the climb. Daniel breathes in the crisp air, feeling a clarity he has not experienced in years, his mind finally quiet. Robert hands him a small, rough stone as a reminder that the start is always rough before it becomes polished. Alone on the peak, Daniel makes a silent vow to stop planning his life and start living it. right now. The drive back to the city feels different. The familiar streets no longer look like a trap, but like opportunities. He enters his room and looks at the vision board, realizing it is just paper, until he adds sweat to it. He rips down the complex charts and excessive plans, clearing the space for something much more real and tangible. Sitting at his desk, he opens a blank document, facing the terrifying white screen that used to paralyze him. He remembers Robert's words about the first mile, takes a deep breath, and types the very first imperfect sentence. He allows himself to be bad, to write poorly, knowing that he can only improve something that actually exists. Hours pass, and for the first time in years, he is not tired from anxiety, but exhausted from productive effort. The next morning, he does not wait to feel like an athlete. He puts on his shoes and runs. He runs slowly and struggles for breath, but he smiles because he is finally in the game, not watching it. Day by day, the small actions compound, building a momentum that no amount of planning could ever hope to achieve. He meets Alex again, but this time without envy, sharing his own progress on a project that is finally real. The fear is still there, but it no longer drives the car. Daniel is now the one holding the wheel. He has learned that the barrier was never his lack of talent, but his refusal to be a beginner. The stone from the mountain sits on his desk, a silent teacher, reminding him to embrace the rough, unpolished start. Now, Daniel helps others understand that waiting for confidence is a mistake, because confidence is the result of action. You cannot harvest a crop you never planted, no matter how much you studied the theory of farming. Looking out at the city lights, he understands that everyone out there is just figuring it out as they go. The difference between the old Daniel and the new one is not skill, but the willingness to be imperfect. He turned his struggle into a philosophy, proving that the only bad step is the one you never take. He shares his story not to boast, but to liberate others from the paralyzing fear of their own high expectations. They see themselves in him, realizing that they too have been waiting for a permission slip that doesn't exist. Life is fleeting, and waiting for the perfect moment is a gamble with time that you will always lose. Daniel returns to the trail, not as a seeker this time, but as a guide for someone else who is scared. He extends a hand, passing on the wisdom that Robert gave him, completing the circle of growth and mentorship. The world rewards movement, aligning doors of opportunity for those who have the courage to knock and walk through. His journal is no longer a list of empty wishes, but a record of battles fought and small victories won. Time is the only resource we cannot renew, so spending it in fear is the greatest tragedy of all. If you are watching this and feeling stuck, know that you do not need more information. You need courage. You are scared because you care. And that care is the fuel you need to push through the resistance. Embrace the sucky phase, love the clumsy beginnings, and forgive yourself for not being a master on day one. The sun rises every day without fail, and you too can rise and start again, no matter how much time passed. Daniel has found his path, not by thinking his way there, but by walking his way there, step by step. Your path is waiting for you, not in the future, but right here, under your feet, in this very moment. Remember the lesson of the mountain. You are not lazy, you are just scared, and that is perfectly okay. Accept the fear, take the first imperfect step, and start before you are ready. For that is how legends begin. Thank you for watching Infinite Heart Stories. Remember, you are ready now, so take that first step and never look back.